Researchers are now saying that cutting out sugar can lower your risk of cancer recurrence by up to 30%. So if you're serious about beating cancer, cutting out sugar could be one of the smartest moves you could make. I'm Sarah from Remission Support, and I've spent years researching the link between sugar and cancer. So in this video, I'm going over 4 surprising ways that sugar can increase your risk of getting cancer or having it come back, and which types of sugar are the worst for cancer survivors. What's frustrating is that it's not the sugar that you add to your coffee that's the problem. It's the sneaky hidden sugars that food manufacturers add to everything from ketchup to salad dressing that are fueling illnesses like obesity, diabetes, and cancer. And this is why the average person ends up consuming about 60 pounds of sugar each year and is addicted to it. Trust me, I know that cutting out sugar is really tough. I personally cut out all refined sugar from my diet about 15 years ago, and believe me, it was not easy. This was also during one of the most stressful times of my life, during my intense oncology residency in university. I was addicted to sugary snacks and relied on them to get through the day. I craved it after every meal, and even though I was super busy, I would always go out of my way to find something sweet. So I have another video coming out soon where I'll be sharing exactly how I stopped my cravings for it and why I decided to cut it out completely. But let's get into why cutting back on sugar is especially important after cancer. First of all, sugar is like rocket fuel for cancer cells. This isn't just a personal belief. There is solid science backing this up. You see, cancer cells need energy to grow and spread, and they get that energy more from sugar than anything else you eat, like protein or fats. So when people say that sugar feeds cancer, they're not lying. When you eat sugar, it raises your blood glucose levels, giving cancer cells fuel to grow faster. There are also a few ways that sugar can indirectly cause cancer, so let's go over 4 of them right now. Number 1, sugar weakens your immune system. You've probably heard that a strong immune system is essential for fighting off cancer. So because sugar weakens your immunity, it makes it harder for your body to catch and kill precancerous cells before they turn into cancer. Also, obviously when your immune system is compromised, you're more likely to get sick. So if you eat a lot of sugar, you're affecting your ability to fight off viruses, which is exactly what you don't want after cancer, because treatments like chemo or radiation may have already compromised your immune system. The second way sugar can indirectly cause cancer is through insulin resistance. Constantly eating sugar on a daily basis keeps your blood sugar levels high. Over time, this can lead to insulin resistance or diabetes, making you twice as likely to get certain types of cancer like pancreatic, liver, or endometrial, just to name a few. Number 3, sugar triggers inflammation in your body. If there's one thing we know for sure about lowering our cancer risk, it's that avoiding chronic inflammation is key. I have another video titled The Secret to Conquering Cancer, How to Reduce Inflammation, and I'll link that below for you to watch next. But basically, if you have chronic inflammation, it can cause changes inside your cells and damage your DNA, which can then lead to cancer. For example, people with chronic inflammatory bowel diseases like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease have an increased risk of getting colon cancer because they have chronic inflammation in their gut. So if you eat sugar regularly, over time, the inflammation in your body will become chronic because it's always there. You're not giving your body enough time to get rid of it between meals, and this is when it becomes dangerous. Some studies have even shown that inflammation also plays a big role in cancer metastases, which is when it spreads to other parts of the body, making the battle against cancer even tougher. And the 4th way that sugar can indirectly lead to cancer is that it breeds bad bacteria in your gut. You may already know this, but we have both good and bad bacteria in our gut, and a diet high in sugar favors the bad bacteria. When the bad outnumber the good, it creates inflammation. Also, since about 70% of your immune system is located in your gut, this means that your gut health dictates your ability to fight off cancer cells. Crazy, right? Now, I know what you may be thinking, this makes sense for maybe stomach or bowel cancer, but what does my gut health have to do with getting other types of cancer? Well, the good bacteria in your gut are involved in breaking down carcinogens like alcohol or processed meat, things we know directly cause cancer. So the good bacteria help to eliminate carcinogens from your body before they have a chance to do damage. Something else that's super interesting, if you've had breast cancer, you'll likely know that estrogen fuels most types of breast cancer, like around 70% of them. And the more estrogen you have in your body, the greater your risk of developing breast cancer. But the good bacteria in your gut also help to break down estrogen so that it's expelled from your body. So having a healthy gut is extra important if you have estrogen-driven breast cancer. Now, the best ways to maintain a healthy gut microbiome are by avoiding sugar and eating foods that are high in probiotics. There aren't a lot of foods that contain probiotics, but there are some like yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha, or pickles. But if you're not used to eating these foods regularly, I would highly recommend taking a probiotic supplement. The problem is that not all probiotic supplements are worth the money you'll pay for them, but the most important thing to look out for when buying a probiotic is the number of CFUs, or colony-forming units. You'll want a probiotic with at least 30 to 50 billion CFUs. The greater the number of CFUs, the greater the chances that the bacteria will make it all the way down to your large intestine, which is where they're needed most because this is where you absorb the nutrients from the food you eat. So those are 4 ways that sugar can indirectly lead to cancer. But with all that being said, I'm not saying that you need to stop eating sugar completely and never enjoy an ice cream or piece of cake again. I mean, that's just not realistic. But what's important is that you just start to become aware of how much sugar you're consuming and slowly cut back on it until you're only eating it occasionally. Again, I'll be talking about how to do this effectively in another upcoming video, but for now, let's dive into which sweeteners are some of the worst for you. A question I get very often is if agave is a healthy alternative to sugar. But unfortunately, although it sounds great because agave comes from a plant, it's not actually healthy because it contains fructose. Now, fructose is okay when you have it in fruit because it's a relatively small amount, and fruit also contains fiber, so it's more slowly digested and won't raise your blood sugar levels in the same way. But if you have pure fructose like in agave syrup, it's very unhealthy. You may have already heard of high fructose corn syrup. Several studies have shown that it's a key driver of some of the most serious metabolic diseases like type 2 diabetes and cancer. So try to steer clear of both high fructose corn syrup and agave. High fructose corn syrup is mostly found in things like canned fruit, flavored yogurts, soda, baked goods, ketchup, or jam. Similarly, although honey is also natural and does have some nutrients, it still raises your blood sugar levels the same way that sugar does. So it's best to only eat honey in moderation as well. When you're thinking about cutting back on sugar or just getting started, what's important to remember is that every little change you make helps. So think about how you can cut back on it. Can you switch from drinking soda or juice to flavored water? Can you slowly wean it out of your coffee in the morning? As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, there are hidden sugars in most processed foods, so it can be really hard to avoid them unless you know how to look out for them. They're called hidden sugars because food manufacturers use names and ingredient labels that most people have never heard of, and they use sugar to make us not only like the taste of their products, but also make us want more. It's human nature to love sugar, and the more we eat it, the more we crave it. So of course they're going to use as much sugar in their products as possible. So an easy trick to reducing the amount of sugar you consume is to simply start to replace any processed foods you eat with whole foods. And I know what you may be thinking, that sounds super boring and like a lot of work, but I can assure you it doesn't have to be. It honestly gets easier and easier the more you do it, because the more you choose whole foods over processed foods, the more your taste buds will change. Then before you know it, you won't want to eat sugary foods anymore because you likely won't enjoy them as much, and you may not even feel well when you eat them. It is totally possible to reduce your cravings for sugar and change your taste buds, I promise. So again, keep an eye out for another video I have coming out soon on how to effectively quit your sugar cravings for good. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel so that the YouTube algorithm will share these videos with more people who can benefit from this information as well. Take care, and I'll see you next time.